This is episode 12, right? We've been in this 3 months, and I can honestly say to you, doing the new
I get you. I was confused,
Real Monsters for 3 months.
Yeah.
I can honestly tell you that of the 12 episodes we've done so far on this format, this is the first week where I've looked at it and I'm like, this doesn't compute. This couldn't have happened in real life.
Oh, the My Way killing?
The majority of what we're going to talk about today. Bar the first story, maybe. The last story, I can understand how it happened. There's a lot to it. The two in the middle are batshit fucking crazy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, like, I would expect that they sound more like something I would write for the main show than they do reality.
Yep.
I mean, we might as well go with the first one first, right? The more grounded and easy one. Because it was one I covered when I was doing Mini Monsters, and that was the Murder of Mol McCarthy.
Mm-hmm.
Can
I just point out first that our dog is snoring like a jackhammer?
Oh yeah, if you can hear that.
Yeah.
That's Caesar snoring like crazy. I was saying to you, that's mad that I met a girl in the middle of the village this week and she was like, oh, look at your dog, it's so cute, what's his name? I was like, Caesar. It's like, oh, mine's Milo. And I was like, oh no.
It begins but with dogs.
This is it. You have no idea, right? Every time I say no to that dog, I realise the irony of what I'm standing there, I'm like, no, Caesar, no. And I'm like, oh, God, I should know better.
Mm-hmm.
I should know better. I know what I'm fucking leading myself into. And he looks at me too, like with that look of, do you want to go there?
Mm-hmm.
Do you really want to go there? I'll do the puppy dog eyes. But,
yeah, so
this week, the reason we're doing this story is because it actually kind of got a resolution to it. Obviously, I don't...
well, it did get a resolution in 2015, but it got more of a resolution.
Yeah, being that the man that was framed finally got dug up from his criminal burial ground and put into, I suppose, consecrated ground, proper religious
burial. He was buried in Holy Cross in Tipperary.
And that was Harry Gleeson, isn't it?
Yeah, Harry Gleeson. So he was actually the first man in Ireland to be granted a posthumous pardon. Yeah. He obviously didn't he was just in the wrong place, the wrong time. He actually discovered the body.
I would have thought by the 40s we wouldn't have been executing people. This is 1940s, isn't it?
It is.
It is. It's 1941 is when Harry Gleeson died. And she died in 1940. So I would have thought we would have been done with the death penalty at that stage in this country. Hang on, I'll have a quick look because Amy's waving at her computer.
Can we stop for a minute?
Technical difficulties, back in a second. And we're back. See, if we were on radio, we would have been fucked right there. Huh?
I would have stormed off, fucked my laptop out the window.
This is why you don't get a live version of the show on Patreon. There's more stops and starts and fucking...
Someday. Yeah, so, the last execution in Ireland. I wonder what that was.
I thought that's what you were doing in all that time we were stopped.
No, my laptop stopped.
It's been 3 days. We've been just sitting here waiting for our laptop to come back on.
Michael Manning was the last person to be executed in Ireland in 1954. He was convicted for rape and murder. He was 29th only and last person to be executed in the Republic of Ireland.
Did they still do hanging or did they do firing squad at that point? You know, firing squad was probably big from the
definitely the Free State, I'd say. Yeah. He was.
What was Gleeson on that side? Was he hung or fucking hanging?
The last guy was hanged. Gleeson, I'm pretty sure, was hung also. Yeah.
Yeah. But what happened anyway? What's the story here?
The story was nobody has been brought to justice for Mol McCarthy. She was found in a field by Harry, and he was framed for it. Just the wrong person at the wrong time.
Do they know who framed them? Was it like an IRA job? Was it like a fucking Ulster job?
There's a few, again, nothing concrete, but they do think that she might have been a police informant or been involved there somewhere, kind of IRA.
And why was he framed? Just that he was just the person to come across and they were like, yeah, fuck, put a pin on him.
Yeah. Because
he
had an alibi.
He was her landlord's nephew, wasn't it?
Yes.
And she was pretty much sleeping with the landlord and everybody else to pay her bills.
Yeah, well, she had 7 children, but one died young. Yeah, died very young as far as I know. Yeah. So
what's a smallholder? Because that's another thing as well. She was a smallholder, prostitute, and murder victim.
A smallholder is...
I didn't know you were to put murder victim in your CV.
It's like a small scale farm. It's a small farm.
Oh, okay. So that was what she was renting off of him, and then she was hooking around the place to
But the thing about it is, when you look at the trial, like, it's crazy. Like, all the medical evidence suggested that her death was probably on the 21st of November when Gleeson had an alibi, but the prosecution exaggerated the likelihood that the death was on the 20th of November when Gleeson didn't have an alibi.
How were they able to tell the difference in the 40s?
In the 40s?
50s or even... Or,
as in when the death would have occurred?
Yeah, when they were actually on trial. When he was actually on trial. When was he on trial?
In the 40s.
Yeah, so...
Pretty much like they would today. They'd look into the state of decay, rigor mortis. Everything happens like this. You can nearly get the first few days, after the first few hours even, like, you can have an hour by hour thing of like, all right, well, this is going to happen by this time. This is going to happen by, so they were able to look at her body, kind of work their way back the exact same way as they do now. Yeah,
I just thought, that it was more about physical, about clues in the area or tips and people's information.
But I know in the 40s, people had been dying for thousands of years at that stage. So
they had, that's true. Then why did it take them till the fucking 90s, Amy, to work out DNA? Idiots.
Because we had no microscopes. That's a lie. We had microscopes for hundreds of years as well. I don't know, Josh.
What did we see that in? Oh, that was the Planet of the Apes. When the TV show, when they don't want the man to use his shitty flying machine, and they fucking...
They stick in them. It's not a microscope.
It's not Milo and that as well, I see. I can't remember. Yeah, it is. It's a
looking
magnifying glass.
Magnifying glass. Yeah, not a looking glass. Yeah, magnifying
he's showing the other ape that he had discovered a magnifying glass, but he knew what it was, and he had slipped it into a spot where the sun would hit it and burn the flying machine. The flying machine was like a basic fucking, I don't know, like a, what you call those ones? Those air gliding thingies. Paragliders.
There we go.
Except, made out of, I don't know, fluff and sort of straw and stuff. It wasn't a very good structure. Dirty. And the ape knew it wasn't a very good structure. And if you listen to our latest 2 episodes, you'll hear all about how the apes are going to come and take over the world.
Exactly.
So this guy got framed for, I would have thought having an landlord uncle might have been able to help him out a bit, get him out of trouble. But yeah, fuck it, didn't work out. So how did they figure out in the end that it wasn't him?
Well, I mean, they reviewed the file. The Attorney General, I think it was Alan Shatter at the time.
There was a book about it, wasn't it?
Yeah, the practical trial of Harry Gleeson. Yeah, so that was published by his friend Bill O'Connor in the 1980s. And there was actually another book published that named the fathers of Mol McCarthy's children. And there was a lot of anger over that when that one was published, that there was fathers named.
They were family men.
Yeah. Another one of her sons moved to, after she died, to Walworth in England. And
so what the fuck is she going to do? We didn't have legal condoms here until like the 90s.
Exactly. What are you going to do?
She's obviously going to end up having a bunch of fucking kids off. Exactly. She was a prostitute in that time. Like. Yeah.
But her son ended up in Walworth after she died, and he was living with his son Joseph for a good while. Well, like he lived to be like 70 or 80, but one day his son went to the cop shop and was like, I just killed my dad. So it didn't turn out well for him either.
Jesus. So yeah. That's happy Ireland for you.
But anyway, no, it does have a happy ending. Happy ending. For Harry Gleeson. Well, yeah, where the bone, but he was.
I don't think Harry gives too much of a shit anymore.
But he was brought back, as in, like, it does mean something to his family that this man had been buried. I mean, like, don't get nearly 88 years after the fact. Like, it's still shit. Like,
it looked like I saw pictures. It looked like a proper funeral again. Like,
he had a proper escort out of Mountjoy and all. Like, his funeral notice was even published.
Do they have a graveyard in Mountjoy?
Okay, well, where these? I saw the pictures.
The prison in Ireland, one of the biggest prisons in Ireland.
I don't know if they have a graveyard now, but I saw the pictures of I think it was himself and 17 other people that had been executed were excavated, and it was basically, it just looks like, here's your wall and here's the rolls of barbed wire on the top, and then there's concrete here. And then there's like another wall here, and it looks to me like it was like under that concrete walkway was where these people were buried.
Because you would assume, I suppose it makes sense, like, but when you look at it, I think it's because we're in such a small Catholic country that you kind of expect that the person is still going to get a Catholic burial. They're taken out and put into a proper burial ground, given back to their family or whatever. Because, I mean, obviously I've seen it in American shows, all right. And especially, then you have cases, I suppose, where people mightn't have family.
Yeah.
And they don't get claimed. But again, I would have thought they would have went into one of these kind of paupers' graves kind of things. But, you know, in the fucking graveyard, the actual Catholic or Christian graveyard. I didn't think they'd be buried on the prison grounds here.
But I think that's I can't. Oh, what were we going through? I think it was witchcraft at the time, and you know, as in
witchcraft phase.
Being buried, yeah. No, but on mini monsters, real monsters. And the thing was, there was a lot of people weren't happy that people that had been hung for witchcraft weren't being buried on consecrated ground, because in their thought, the crime was you were hung for witchcraft. So you should, like, you know, your soul is being cleansed. You paid your punishment. That was your punishment. So you should be buried in consecrated ground. And that's my issue with it.
And technically, by their belief, wouldn't they be thinking that Satan kind of had technically possessed these women, or a demon would have technically possessed these women to do it? So by killing them, you're pushing out the demon, but the body is still the body of the holy person that you were trying to save. And by saving them, you by killing them, you saved them in their eyes. Yeah.
So for the likes of Harry Gleeson.
And if you think that's meant to be shit, wait until we get to the main event later, and then some of the ladies we got to talk about. But yeah, go on.
But yeah, so Harry, like, he paid his price. He was executed. He shouldn't have paid the price, but that was seen as his punishment. So why the fuck wasn't he buried in consecrated ground, which would have been a huge deal in the 40s? Did you know that shouldn't have been part of the punishment? In my head, if it's part of your religion, your belief.
No, here we have a bit of hypocrisy that I'd like to bring up. Because I was going to bring this up in Weekend Update. As to what counts as paying your debt, or what counts as being innocent or guilty, or when do you get to... We were talking about Kevin Spacey this week, and apparently a lot of the big Hollywood bigwigs are clamouring for him to come back. You were wondering why. I said he was getting some Italian Lifetime Achievement Award, and then we both looked into it and we found out that Kevin Spacey had actually been cleared of or acquitted on all charges brought against him. So you were like, I still think he's guilty, and I still don't think he should get his job back. And I was like, well, then at what point are we buying the law? What point do we accept the law's decision?
But I didn't say straight out he's guilty. I said I want to see what was said, you know, like, just to see why, because he had so many charges against him. Why they were all dropped?
Well, apparently there's some suspicious deaths, all right. But
there's some suspicious deaths. One of the guys just decided, he was like, I don't want to testify, but this is what happened to me.
See, I am strongly of the belief, because we go down on people so hard when allegations are, because this shit of you're innocent until proven guilty is bullshit. You're guilty until proven innocent in all cases. That is a fact. Yeah. You are guilty until proven innocent. In the most extreme cases, you are locked away in a prison until your innocence is proven. Yeah. So you are guilty until proven innocent. But I think if you're proven fucking innocent or acquitted, then people need to fucking lay the file. Because it happened to a wrestler as well, Enzo Amore.
Oh, yeah.
Who was tag team champion at the time, who was was just after being champion. He was up there. He was on the rise. A little annoying, a little fucking irritating to listen to, but he was on the fucking rise. And next thing, a woman came out and made allegations against him, and he lost his job with the biggest wrestling company in the fucking world. People started looking at him like he was a slimy little fucking sleazeball who, his gimmick didn't have that. Gimmick. But they started treating him like he was a slimy little fucking slime ball who had done all this dirty fucking shit. Yeah. And then it turned out the girl was lying. Did he get his job back with the biggest wrestling company in the world? No. Did people stop treating him like a fucking slime ball? No. Again, his gimmick didn't help, but still. Do you know? So people back then, even if there was suspicion that he was innocent, or even in the thought of he's clear, would they have thought the body is tainted now, or that because the soul was tainted, the body is tainted and can't
maybe, but I mean,
they had very flimsy rules back then for what was allowed on fucking, you know.
Oh, unbaptized children, no. Strangers, no. Fucking.
So I mean, look, it's look, it's nice that they resolved the issue somewhat, and for the family, it's nice that their name gets cleaned up a bit, even though it doesn't really mean too much now. Again, their name being cleared up back in maybe the 60s, 70s, 80s might have meant a bit more, but people these days don't really care what your fucking great-great-grandfather did or your great-great-uncle did.
But that's it. As in, like, do you know, if he had the chance to go on and have a family and children, it might mean more to them. But we didn't even...
But that's, you know, look, it's just a shit story. Yeah. And no ending in 2024 is going to fix what happened in the 1940s.
No.
But so that's the serious one. Do you want to get on to the absolute fucking...
Oh boy, yeah.
I'm going to say ridiculous. That's the proper word for these stories.
It's people that kill people over saying my way. In the Philippines.
That can't be... I find this harder to believe than the dancing plague. That we covered.
Oh, well, the dancing plague, there's so much historical records and references there that it's I think this is so new as well that it's like, really? Did this happen?
No, I will say, right? Because, I was looking at it and they were saying, do you want to tell the story of this one? Because this is a short one. You can kind of tell what's going on here.
So, the My Way killings was a social phenomenon in the Philippines, and it refers to a number of fatal disputes which arose from the singing of the song My Way, obviously popularised by Sinatra.
And Sid Vicious.
And Sid Vicious in karaoke bars, more commonly known as videoke in the Philippines, apparently.
So,
New York.
I'm guessing from that videoke thing, it's like...
it's karaoke.
Like people don't do... I can never get that right. The Corrupt FM boys. People don't do anything. People just do nothing. People just do nothing. The movie. Like the big building they had with all the different rooms. Like,
you could hire your own booth. Like, yeah.
But,
like a strip club.
But that's what it sounds like from what they're saying. Because they say you can get private video rooms. Video key rooms. I knew, right, to a small degree that the Asians took their karaoke kind of seriously.
Do you remember the Filipino guy that we saw lately? That this is how I found out about the My Way killings, and he opened his mouth and was like listening to Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
And it was like identical, and you were like, that couldn't be real. But no, it was like fucking crazy.
Did we see that?
I think it was on the last stream.
Maybe I can't remember. But I mean, they take a look. This claim that the area was rough. Is the Philippines rough area? I think it's supposed to be with dodgy.
It can be, yeah. Like the way that this is worded, it makes it seem like there's like this is a mass murder, as in like not never ending kind of thing. But it's estimated to be about 6.
No,
as of 2010.
To be fair, the political killing that's in there. There was one politician killed, and he was singing My Way when he was killed. I think that was a coincidence. Because it sounds like he was working for for gangsters and he was...
yeah.
He kind of... That was more of a drug deal gone bad than it was. It was just a coincidence he was singing the song. But I do have a kind of explanation behind this. I think I have a bit of an explanation behind this. Because at first, I was like, when they say that... Because if you listen to Mini Monsters, you hear it, they describe it as maybe possibly being the cause of aggressive lyrics. That the way he's singing is very kind of rebellious.
Arrogantly, like, you can get it in someone's face.
Which is why Sid Vicious picked the fucking song to be his debut fucking solo. Like,
it was very like defiant.
In your face, which I loved. When I went looking for some art for the video for this, for the Mini Monsters, and I looked it up, Sid Vicious and My Way, and it just turned out. I had completely forgotten what the video was, and once I saw the picture, I remembered it. But it's him shooting the gun on stage with My Way and Sid Vicious written behind. I was like, oh, beautiful.
Nice.
But I think that was definitely, the political one was definitely a coincidence. But the aggressive lyrics, right?
Yeah.
I have an example of this. In modern times. Well, I suppose this is modern times. My Way isn't that old. But in my own life.
Yeah.
And that is, I came across when I was a teenager. Not even a teenager, but in my early 20s. Up in TK Maxx. The coolest Scarface t-shirt I've ever seen. And I love it. It's a great movie. I just love gangster movies in general. It kind of goes with my true crime love. It goes with my... I don't just like serial killers. I become obsessive about the mafia. I become obsessive about Irish gangsters. I've read books upon books about all 3 subjects, And I got this Scarface because I liked watching all the fictional stuff as well as the real stuff, and I thought they were great, like Goodfellas, fucking, Casino, The Godfather, obviously. And I saw the t-shirt, and it was literally the cover. So half of the t-shirt is white, half the t-shirt is black, and it's the whole cover is of the Scarface poster is covering the entire t-shirt.
Oh, I get you.
So it's half white, half black, but makes up the Scarface logo.
Yeah.
And it has the cool Tony Montana TM on the back of the neck.
Yeah.
Which was perfect as well for our band at the time because we were using the same symbol, the TM, as our band fucking logo. And I loved it, but I couldn't wear it because every fucking scumbag in fucking Ireland relates to Tony fucking Montana for some fucking reason. And they're constantly posting, hey, you realise he was the asshole in that movie, right? The weird guy with the fetish for his sister, he was the bad one. The guy killing everybody and calling people cockroaches. When he goes, I'm the bad guy, he really is the bad guy. I don't know how people watch that movie and see him in any bit of a redeeming light. The character of Tony Montana is an out-and-out scumbag, which is probably why the scumbags related to him so much.
Movie idea, though. Scar farce, but just do it as in, like, serious, but, like, all Irish.
I could give it a try. The thing about it, I love the t-shirt, but I never felt comfortable wearing it. Because I thought as soon as somebody saw me in it, they were going to think I'm a scumbag. Instantly. Because of the representation Scarface has with the rougher community. The wannabe gangster community. I mean, these are the guys who will post Scarface quotes as their fucking Facebook things. And the only one I ever liked from Scarface that I used to use a lot was, I only have two things in this world. That's my balls and my word, and I'm not breaking them for anybody. And I always loved that quote from that movie.
Okay.
Even though I have thought of a thing of, well, Tony, what if somebody needs you to break your balls so that you won't break your word? Then you gotta bust your balls.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Gotta do it.
Fucked himself over there, didn't he?
You're stuck in a loop. But, and I think that maybe where this is as well, is you have a rougher community where it's almost like a prison kind of thing where the biggest guy's got to be taken down, like the alpha's got to be taken down for the next alpha to come out. And I think maybe you have like pockets of smaller factions maybe getting on stage and screaming this at the face of their enemies, or screaming this at someone they haven't had an issue with, or screaming it while they're already in an issue with somebody else, and then that escalates because you're getting in their face going, I did it my way.
And then you just deck him.
No, I mean, just so everyone knows, I love this song. I got a verse of it tattooed on the back of my arm. And a Frank Sinatra hat right in.
Is that only a verse of it? Oh, you see, I always looked at it in my head. I was like, I don't remember it being that short a song. No, that makes sense.
And it was like my granddad's favourite songs. I would play at his funeral and stuff like that. But I'm going to put a twist on it in my own, because at my funeral, it'll be Sid Vicious's version that's played. Tell your brother not to get offended.
Tell your mom she has to be okay with it though, and I'm not getting given out to over it.
Because there's a few words in Sid Vicious's version that would not make the cut today.
Oh, I know.
I love that during the week. You were like, I was listening to Harry Oldman going on about Sid Vicious, and he said he was an awful person. No redeeming him. I was like, pretty much. People like Sid because it was the punk image, but if you actually had to hang out with Sid Vicious, chances are you would not like the man. Do you know? Most of the people that worked with him didn't fucking like him. Do you know?
True.
Pretty much the only person he did like, he ended up killing. Or did like him, he ended up killing.
Did she like him though? You can love someone without liking him.
And rumor, or conspiracy has it. I know I'm not putting any credence in this at all, but it's his mother that gave him the heroin that killed him. And there was talk behind it that she intentionally gave him a stronger dose than he could handle, because he was coming out of prison, right? He came out of prison on bail after the Nancy murder, and he was out on bail when he died, and he went to a party for his release that his mother had organised with all his friends there. One of the guys from the Misfits were there as well. I can't remember which one. He was friends with his mother, and they got him heroin, and he took too big a dose for someone who had been off it as long as he had been off it, because he had been in prison. Yeah. So that's what OD'd him and killed him. Oh, shit. But people, in conspiracy theories started that his mother thought maybe he couldn't take care of himself, maybe he wouldn't be able to, function as an adult on his own, and the best thing to do would be, and especially without Nancy and with his drug habit, that maybe the best thing to would be just let himself party himself out, man, and give him a bigger bump than he was capable of taking. But again, there's no proof of that. That's just bullshit conspiracy shit. It's the same as
Courtney Love.
Did Courtney Love kill? No, she didn't kill Kurt Cobain. She tried to save the man 2 or 3 times before he's dead. You know.
And hand positioning means fucking nothing. I hate that that's the biggest fucking
the biggest thing.
But every time I hear of it, he wouldn't have been able to.
There was that for a while, right? The biggest one they're saying there isn't so much the positioning of the gun with Kurt Cobain. It was the amount of drugs in his body.
He wouldn't have been in a fit state.
He shouldn't have been in the it shouldn't have had the ability to shoot himself in the head. He should have been pretty much fucking asleep.
Well, maybe with all the fumbling, and then maybe that gave him the right hand position. You're yourself, if something falls, it's not going to fall conveniently.
Or maybe he had his finger on the trigger as he was fucking injecting with the other hand, and as soon as it was in, he just went. Who knows?
Also,
again,
we have feet.
Well, I've always heard that fucking theory that he did it with his fucking toes, but I don't know. It's a weird one. Yep. I don't buy any of that shit anyway.
I don't buy that it was Courtney,
Yeah, he wasn't a happy man. But look, I don't understand these My Way killings. It seems like it is just a case of maybe, like you said, it's only 6 actual killings, so.
6 as of 2010.
The politician counts as 1.
The politician counts as 1, but then there's some worldwide as well.
It is bizarre that it will fall on that song. Like, you know, there are so many more aggressive songs out there. There's so many, you know. I mean, I think if I wanted to piss somebody off, if I was in a pissed off mood with somebody and I wanted to sing something aggressive, it would be something like People Who Equal Shit or something like that. Some Slipknot.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, instead of My Way. Maybe that's people trying to be classy aggressive. In Seattle, though, and I can kind of understand this one. Well, obviously nobody should get hurt over it, but a karaoke singer was attacked by a woman in Seattle because she wouldn't stop singing Coldplay's Yellow.
Yeah.
I can kind of
I
can sympathise there a tiny bit.
I'd eventually be like, shut up! We came here to get drunk and have fun. You're depressing everybody.
Don't get me wrong, David. 1 or 2 kind of songs that don't depress me, but
they're not.
The rest
it's not depressive.
I are too slow.
They're not my style.
No.
But I actually did do this, to be honest. I did, you know, when I said, like, if I picked my heavier song, when we were teenagers, my band was fighting with another band, and I'm pretty sure we learned, outside of writing the fucking song where we cursed them all of it the whole way through, I am pretty sure we did Surfacing by Slipknot, which is fuck it all, fuck this world, fuck everything you stand for, don't belong, don't exist, and like shit, don't ever judge me. What we were doing it with while I literally in front of the crowd, he was in the front row for some fucking reason. And I stood there with my middle finger in his face throughout the whole song.
And did he just stand there taking it?
Yep.
Why?
Stood there stone-faced trying to act cool about it while everybody else was cheering us on. So yeah.
Okay.
Needless to say, we won that one eventually. Anyway, that was the My Way killings. That's a weird one. A strange one. It's a phenomenon. No answer to it. But here's another one, and that's Jack Unterweger. Now,
my God.
You fell asleep last night before I watched that documentary. I watched it in the end.
I was in and out of parts of it.
Not to be fair, it was 4 a.m. when I went that quarter to 4 a.m. when I put it on. After we watched
three-parter about Waco. Stay tuned.
This wouldn't happen in modern times.
No. I think, but it shouldn't have happened back then. It's negligence. It's people not looking into people's back. No, they knew his fucking background.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is when the bodies started showing up, because they were all showing up foreign, I can see how they would slip by when there's no internet to tie it all together. And possibly,
if you didn't, you'd be like, this could be a copycat. They're 2 completely different countries.
But come here.
No, but back then,
shouldn't you check and see where he was? Do you know that nowadays you'd know he was in the country?
I know. I was saying back then.
Do you know, we've talked about fucking Larry Murphy here. That guy officially raped one woman and got in prison for it. He can't fucking whisper the word Ireland without us knowing he's on his way.
Yeah.
Do you know, it's like you can't move in this country. And he was before the sex offender register. So that's, without a register, this man cannot fucking function in our little country. Now, I do have a little theory about Jack Unterweger. So here's my theory, right?
Okay.
The Austrians looked at it as in, here we have a little psychopathic artist, and he's after killing somebody, but he's trying to do good, and he's trying to show us his artistic side with his poetry. Last time we had a little artistic guy who was angry.
Oh my God!
We did the opposite.
He exterminated
and we
everybody.
him off, and he went out and he killed millions. Now, technically, the Austrians' version worked because instead of millions being killed, it was, I'm not going to say only 11 women. That's bullshit. That was terrible anyway. But it was 11 over millions. So the Austrian strategy is on its way to working.
But it wasn't.
The better strategy.
The better strategy was killed, so there was no.
The better strategy would have just not letting them out when they left them out, and following up on him a little bit afterwards and not making him a celebrity.
Him a bit, my fucking earth. I mean, like, this is mad.
He's
he reported, he was working with ORF, the TV studio, reporting on the murders that he had killed, saying how, I mean, like...
He went up to one of the investigators and got in his face about it with a microphone, saying, like, the prostitutes of Austria are terrified. What are you doing about this? What are you doing about it? There's a madman loose, all this stuff. And the investigator looked back at him and said, we are investigating all people who have perpetrated these types of crimes before, including you.
Oh!
And that was up just as they were starting to kind of catch on that it might be him. Okay. And they had started making connections abroad. Now, I think he's big. I mean, look, the balls on the guy. He didn't even change tactics. He just he just stopped bringing a witness. The first time he fucked up, he brought a witness with him. That was the time he was his girlfriend, wasn't it? And they picked up a girl.
Yeah.
And then he thought the girlfriend was going to help him kill her.
Mm-hmm.
But she didn't really want to do anything, but she didn't do anything to stop it either.
Yeah.
Did she get any time? Or she got away with it for ratting on him, didn't she?
She got away with,
for snitching. She got her time off and he went into jail. And he starts writing fucking poetry and telling everybody he's sorry and that he didn't mean it was a terrible mistake he made in his youth kind of thing.
Mm.
And the artists and political leaders and media people in Austria are like, yeah, let's get him out of jail early. And
that's president. President said, no, you got to do your 15 years and then you can go.
Fucking hell. One person who had a brains, and the other person who had
still let him out of 15 years, though.
You can get out of 15 years here as well for murder. No, Norway is the same. The guy
you have to show signs of more. I mean, like more rehabilitation than poetry.
In Norway, the guy that killed fucking.
I knew that in Norway. It's very
Mayhem.
Yeah, can't think of his name. I know him.
Vars Vickerson. He killed Euronymous, and he did 15 years. I think 15 years is their maximum sentence in Norway. Here
in Austria, it was the minimum, wasn't it?
I think
for
so.
murder, yeah.
Minimum, but maximum time for any crime in Norway is 15 years. And the look of there, I've seen, because I actually looked at clips of Var.
Accommodation.
Yeah,
it looks like
clips of
apartments that I lived in when I was in college.
Yeah, he was living around. And that guy had no fucking problem with it, no remorse, because he's come out, he still makes YouTube videos.
Mm.
I mean, he's another guy who's kind of still kept some of his celebrity coming out, but only amongst his cult kind of following, because he's very, he's a Nazi.
Yeah.
Straight up. Yeah. He calls himself an Odinist. He is not. He's not a part of my religious beliefs. He's just a fucking out-and-out Nazi, and he teaches survivalist techniques and shit like that on YouTube from his car. I don't know how you managed to say it.
From his car? What if you've got no car?
And I think he still records stuff. No, he makes the videos in his car.
Oh, because apparently that's the cool. Everybody does it from their car, apparently.
For fuck's sake. But I mean, like you said, the fact that it went down. So I can understand 1 or 2 or 3 maybe in different countries, but eventually, somebody, especially when it starts in Austria, when it starts back up at home, and his car is being seen around this. Now he played it off as in, that's why they reckon he was investigating himself as well.
Why?
Because if he's investigating himself, he has a reason to be in the red light district.
Oh.
So when his car, with his vanity plate, which was a vanity plate, I can't remember what it said, it was J Unterweger or Unter or something. I can't, some bullshit like that. Yeah. But it was a white fucking, what did they say it was? It was some posh fucking white car anyway. It was very distinguished. You'd spot it a mile away.
Yeah.
And that was how he got away with that. So when he was being seen in the red light district of Austria around the time of these 3 women's disappearances, his excuse was, I was doing an expose. I was down there. When he's being seen talking to the other prostitutes, he's doing a bit. When he did talk to the prostitutes and convinced them to get in the car with him, I'm fucking doing a bit of an expose, get in the car with me and I'll do an interview with you and I'll pay you so much money. And he was able to get away with stuff that way. But I think...
But the thing again that sticks is every single person is being killed in the exact same way, to the extent that when we were talking about this, we were doing it for Mini Monsters, and I was saying, oh yeah, he hung himself. I was convinced he got in a hold of a bra in jail and hung himself with the bra.
Nobody used the exact same knot.
The same knot, like, but with shoelaces. Yeah.
They said it was always the same knot, and that's what kind of... half nabbed him.
Yeah.
There was another kind of factor that ended up getting him fully busted. But they said, like, when he was in court, he was sitting high and happy, and he thought he was in control. He thought he had everyone won.
Mike
And
Bundy.
the doctor that was with him, they had a psychiatrist with him. And the court mandated a psychiatrist to talk to him and stuff like that. And he said that every day he come out, because apparently their law system is, it has to be a majority to get you. So if it's 8 jurors, if it's 4 jurors saying you're not guilty, you're getting the fuck away with it. So he was spending every day, he'd come back and he'd turn to the doctor and he'd be like, I think we had 6 in my favour today, 2 against me.
That's all
then the next day he'd be like, I think there was 3 who were skeptical today, and then the rest were for me, or the rest were against me. But he'd be judging after facial expressions. They said that was the thing about him was, there's psychopaths who are psychopaths and they don't have the charm, but this guy knew how to replicate emotions
That is because
and charm and put on this character for people to win him over.
Yeah, because he had narcissistic personality disorder, which is characterized by a lifelong pattern of exaggerated self-importance. So you're obviously you're going to be egotistical. You're going to know how to.
And then on top of that, you're a psychopath who doesn't really see anybody else's. I assume a psychopath, because I was watching that documentary last night, it kind of dawned on me that what a psychopath's world is whereas you and me look at each other as individual people, the psychopath looks at his life as being the one and only thing in the universe. Nothing else in the universe is real. Nothing else has a life or a soul or existence. Only you exist. This is your plaything. This is your reality. This is your life. And everything around it. It's like to a psychopath living in the Truman Show.
Yeah.
Whereas to the rest of us, we realise that I have an individual life, you have an individual life. What I do to you, it's obviously, have a knock-on effect for other people, and I have a knock-on effect for you and all that kind of stuff. But people like this guy don't think like that.
Because they can't empathise either. As in, like,
so obviously he's getting more and more cocky every time he's getting away with it. And to the point where he goes to America to do another expose on prostitutes and talk to the prostitutes over there, and 3 of them end up missing in short fucking. Because all this happens in pretty quick succession.
It does.
This guy wasn't like a fucking. Usually these killers could kill 1 or 2 or 3 people a year, a maximum, and then stop for a year or 2, and then come back. And you rarely hear these killers kind of go on one after the other. There's months in between it, sometimes years, where you think the killer's gone completely and they come back. So, I mean, this guy, I think he knocked most of these out in, a year or 2?
About a year. All in the first year. There was 7 in Austria, and the first year after his release. And then in 1991, he killed Sharon Exley, Irene Rodriguez, and Peggy Booth in America.
And, again, he stayed in the Cecil Hotel.
Cecil or Cecil?
I don't know.
Cecil.
But so it's housed 2 serial killers, as we said 2 episodes back. When we were talking about, and we'll probably talk about Cecil again when we talk about Ramirez at some point.
Most likely.
But fucking, I mean, I think Austria and the United States were his biggest mistakes. I think, and not to fucking advocate for it, but if you're a serial killer, his first plan was a good plan. Go to a different country, do what you got, especially in Europe, right? Where you're on a mainland where you can drive from place to fucking place.
Yeah.
Why is he not flying into fucking one country on a border and then driving over the border to commit the crime in another country and then coming back in a time when they wouldn't be able to document it? And then it's like, well, where were you when this crime happened? Well, I was in fucking Germany doing this, such and such and such a thing. When the murder happened.
That's true, yeah. And here's my paper trail from the plane.
Yep. So, I'm here. Here's me checking into that.
Are every border roads manned, though?
I don't know.
Because I always wonder that about the north. Even every little back road.
I assume there's back roads probably. I don't know. And that was the other thing. He did use that a little bit. He would have alibis set up in the way of interviews and radio spots, TV spots, visits with girlfriends. He'd have all this set up so that the day he's going to commit the murder, he'd be doing that as well. So when somebody asked him what he was doing that day, he could say he was doing that day.
Okay.
Now, if they locked him down at a time, he might be in trouble, but apparently nobody would fucking really dig into this shit that much. But his doctor that they had for the court mandated thing knew from the first court case, he was like, this man is not going to get better. This is not going, no matter what you do, we have no chance of fixing this person. He is fucked, and all he will do...
Sounds like Dr. Loomis.
Well, but it was essentially... He kind of looked like him as well a little bit.
Yeah.
But he was like... it was pointless. Like, he's like, I knew he'd do it again. Like, when they released him, I was screaming, do not release this man. While everybody else was like, yeah, let him out.
At what point do you just go for it? Where if you're not going to fucking listen to me?
Yeah.
What can you do, like?
I mean, that's kind of what I assume came down to for that doctor. And but they were saying that as well. Then in the court case, you could see as the days went on and the DNA evidence started showing up, which must have been a new thing as well for them at that point. And it wasn't major DNA evidence; it was hair. And he actually said that it was so untechnical that he had an actual out in it built into it if he wanted to, if he had been smart enough. They found the hair of one of the dead prostitutes in his car, right? When they asked him, had he picked up a woman that night, he said no. If he had said yes, I picked up a woman, we went for dinner, we had consensual sex, all right, but even if he said I picked up a hooker and had sex with her and then left her off at the place, all they would have is evidence that the murder victim had been in his car. They'd have no solid evidence that he killed the woman.
But he lied.
But because he said she was not in the car, then he couldn't explain why the hair was in the car. It meant he was trying to hide something.
Yeah.
And they said that's when you start to see him sink into his chair further and further, when he starts to realise, fuck, I fucked it up.
I bollocksed it for myself, yeah. Well.
And I mean, as a person who wouldn't do any of this shit, if you were asked about something, even as he sounds like a child, but if a child is asked, did you do this, their instant reaction is, no, I didn't do it.
I'm like, oh, now I gotta go check.
And that's what it is.
Yeah.
He just spewed out, we know you did it, and it was just, I didn't kill that person. I didn't talk to any woman that night. Especially in the early 90s when you're not thinking maybe she left a hair behind.
Yeah.
You know? Maybe if she left a physical item like a bag, a wallet,
or something.
A ring, something like that, you'd be like, oh, maybe they have me. But when it's like, a hair, man.
That's all how all the cheaters got caught back in the 90s on TV.
What, hairs?
The earring.
The earring?
Yeah.
The earring or a fucking used condom or underpants.
Underpants, yeah. Free ones.
Who's it is? But that's Jack Unterweger. He is now in prison. No, he's dead. He killed himself.
He hung himself, yeah, we said that.
After they found him guilty, he was going to appeal, but instead he made the same knot he used to kill all the women, and he killed himself. And they were describing the knot. We had a knot expert come into court for this one. And she said that the way he tied the knot was very distinguished to himself. Like they knew this was his own knot. And that it was, and that she showed how it was tied and how it would restrict the neck. And how it would cause the girl to choke to death. And they kind of pointed that out as well, that he was, that being a serial killer that strangles people, that is,
it's a very personal kind of thing.
They have the power to, if you have a gun or a knife, once you start, it's done.
It's done, but you have the power to see it through. You're actually,
when to release in this position, and you're watching the life drain from somebody, like, you know, and that he enjoyed all of that. Obviously, more than most serial killers, because this guy couldn't get enough and just kept on fucking going.
Shit thing is, though, guilty. Technically, he's not guilty.
Because he was never fucking bought.
Once your appeal starts. Yeah. So it's not a legally binding verdict, which is pretty fucking shit. You wonder, did he know that? Did he know, I'm going to spend my life in jail, so fuck you.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not being guilty. Stage. Yeah.
And even one guy who wrote a book about it, I can't remember his name, but he was saying, like, when you look at it, and it really shows you the psychopath's mind, this guy did fuck up, went to jail, had way more opportunities than any other prisoner leaving a fucking prison. He had a job, a high-power job waiting for him, a high position where he'd make a lot of money and be in the public eye, and people loved him, whereas the average prisoner comes out and they struggle for the rest of their life because of their record.
Yeah.
And he fucks it all up.
He's handed it all
straight back into it, like, you know. And you have to wonder then as well, because we know back in the 90s, celebrities these days walk on fucking eggshells in case they fuck up and say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Back in the 90s,
then they could do no harm.
They seemed invincible.
Yeah.
That's why so many of them are in trouble now.
They needed it as well. They bought into it too. Like,
back in the 90s and before that, everything that happened before fucking the internet was invented or given to the public. celebrities were invincible. You couldn't take them down. It wasn't going to happen. Like, you know?
Did the start of them not being not being invincible start though in my head? Maybe it's just because that's when I started to take notice of everything. Was when Britney had that really public, as in like my head. But you know, like what I think to our generation, it was like, oh shit, there's a celebrity that's.
No, it was pretty common.
To me, but maybe it was just like. But to that extent of like Britney fucking Spears, like America's Sweetheart, it was like the time that Meg Ryan kind of.
Nah, you could see it coming a mile off of Britney.
Basically, I was very young at the time, so I don't know. Not very young, but.
I mean, South Park did a whole fucking episode on it.
Yeah.
Do you know, about the way she was treated and is treated. I mean, that poor fucking woman just needs to be left alone.
Oh, people just need to back the fuck off.
Let her put up her fucking pictures on Instagram and let her be happy. She's blocking all the good stuff anyway.
Yeah.
Well, what harm is she
Britney
doing?
alone.
Just leave her enjoy herself. Do you know, it's like this is like the fucking same shit that happened with Michael Jackson to a lesser extent. Whereas Michael was fucking, you know, beaten into being a fucking child star and stayed that child star for the rest of his life, causing him to, you know, fuck up many times.
Yeah.
Whether he fucked up to the degree people believed he fucked up, some people believed he fucked up, or whether you're maybe more in my mind frame where it's things of what he was doing would be seen as inappropriate, but it wasn't sexually inappropriate because he wasn't really doing. I think that Michael probably did have sleepovers with kids, but I genuinely think that Michael was in the mentality of a child when he was doing it.
Yeah.
I think all that would go on there is eating sweets, playing fucking, or watching movies and playing with toys.
Probably because
you know, I don't think there'd actually be any, you know, bad stuff going on. Yeah. But still, if you're a grown man and you're doing that with kids that aren't your family, it's inappropriate.
It's bad luck. Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, you had Macaulay Culkin. He was happy to do that with you for the rest of your life. Why didn't you just stay doing it with him? You know? Instead of bringing in all these traitor kids who are going to screw you over.
Parents of the kids, Josh.
Oh, definitely the parents.
Yeah.
Kids can't think of that shit.
No.
They're told what to do and they just go along with it. And I think that's why I'm skeptical about whether he ever did anything really wrong or not, is I think it has come out over the years that there has been a few parents who coach the shit out of their kids to talk about him.
That's so wrong.
But who knows? Again, we leave you with more questions and answers over here.
Ta-da!
So the last thing we looked at this week, and the big one for the week, was the Waco Seige.
Yeah.
And then we watched the fucking Netflix documentary, the latest Netflix documentary. I think it was from about 2 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a good documentary.
It was. Every time I look into this, it's more interesting than I remember it being. You know?
Yeah.
Cults sometimes seem a bit boring to me, and then you look into the cults
it's like holy
shit.
Yeah,
crazy.
Absolutely.
I think what made the documentary better was the fact that they still had some believers on there.
That was mind-blowing. That, to me, did not make sense. The defending of underage sex with a minor, that was even more mind-blowing.
She straight up said, if there's grass in the field, play ball. That was extreme.
It was
if
absolutely...
they breed, is what she fucking said in a nicer manner.
But like literally, the way she said it was so contradictory. She said that like basically that she understands in modern terms why sex with a 12-year-old is having sex with an underage girl, but you're not having sex with an underage girl. Basically.
That's not what she said. She never said it. So she said, I can understand why having sex with an underage girl in modern times is wrong and it should be looked at. But by our religious beliefs, you are not a minor when you're 12 years old. You are coming of age.
She didn't say that. Did she specifically say in our religious beliefs?
She did say it afterwards. I'm paraphrasing, but she kind of did. Afterwards, she said, you have to remember this is our religion. So remember, I turned to you and I said, I was wondering, would she cop that? Would she say that we have the religious right because it's our religious belief? In the Bible, it says 12 is okay. And then they showed a video of the little fucking 12-year-old girls sitting there and giggling together and for the camera. And
that was just...
Because I said it to you, I was like, if you look at it, up until that point, it does seem like they're railroaded because it's like, they're stockpiling weapons, but their main business was selling weapons to fund their church. Yeah. So it was like, not illegally selling them either. What they were getting in trouble for then was that they were changing the semi-automatics into automatics illegally and selling them on. Mm-hmm. But the government started to believe that it was them. They were doomsday prepping and they were stockpiling for another Jonestown. That they were all going to commit suicide, which look was a genuine fear that time.
Yeah.
That there was what were the other ones? Oh, I can Applegate. What's his fucking thing? The ones that thought they were going to space.
Oh,
and they all drank the juice as well. And Jonestown was the Kool-Aid or whatever they call it. And I know it's not Kool-Aid, it's something else. It's another cheaper version of that. Flavor Aid.
Couldn't even buy the good stuff.
No, Flavor Aid. Appleton. Marshall Applewhite. Marshall Applewhite. I'm getting closer. Hang on. Marshall Applewhite. Yes.
Is this the something and the something as in the name? As in like there's a lot of words. It's a very wordy cult name.
Yeah, I'll get a few now. 2 seconds. No, Heaven's Gate.
Oh, okay, I knew that one.
Yeah, Heaven's Gate. They were the ones that bought they had the funny haircuts, they bought all the same sneakers, and then they all went out for burgers and stuff, and then went away and killed themselves, thinking that they were going to space.
The first time I joined, without realising it was a cult, the first time they told me that I needed to get this haircut and these shoes, see you later, fuckers. It's just...
Would you not be kind of dodgy when you're saying we're all going to space, no?
Well, no, because I presume that to get that far, first you got to get the haircut and the shoes.
No.
No?
No. Pretty much from the start, they were. I am interstellar Jesus.
See, if I was a cult leader, I need you to get the haircut and the shoes to prove your commitment before you get to the space.
Do you know what's fucked up?
Yeah.
One of the victims of that cult, the space cult, was. Do you know the original Star Trek? Do you know Aurora, the girl in Star Trek? The Oh, fuck. She was the only girl in fucking the original series.
Yeah.
Her brother was one of the guys that died in that.
She had the first on-screen mixed race kiss, did she?
Did she?
I'm pretty sure.
Wow, with Shatner?
Pretty sure.
Of course it is.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, did she not have a thing with
Spock?
Wrong.
Am I wrong? No, I'm pretty sure it was her.
I can't see it being Spock.
Was it Catwoman? No, I'm pretty sure it was her.
I don't know. Oh, yeah, because Catwoman was back at one stage. It was in the origin, the 60s series.
Yeah.
She went white, black, white. That's how that went. She was a famous singer as well, wasn't she?
Eartha Kitt.
That was it.
Yeah.
That's who I was going to say it was.
She was a looker. She was a stunning woman.
She looked good in a catsuit. I wasn't complaining. I did.
Right.
Do you know what's a bit fucked up? I watched all those episodes as a kid, right? I didn't even notice they changed Catwoman. Not once did I notice the Catwoman. Skin colour. Did not even pick up on the fact that she had changed her skin colour. I was like, there's Catwoman, alright. That's all I saw.
Okay.
Batman fans, we don't look at skin colour. We look at the villain inside. But yeah, the Waco Seige, we'll get back to that. So obviously people know who've listened to your 40-minute long episode this week. All about the Branch Davidions and David Koresh, and anyone who's listening to this week's episode of It's Alive will see that I leaned heavily into their story to finish off my Planet of the Apes tale. But yeah, they were in trouble for stockpiling weapons, and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco and Firearms, the ATF, wanted to look into it. Now, this was coming off the heels of a thing called Ruby Ridge, which we might do as well. So, we might need to talk. Well, we might get into it. We won't get too much into it. Basically, what happened in Ruby Ridge was the same thing, to a lesser degree. A family who were known to be involved. I don't want to talk completely out of turn here, because I only saw a mini-series about this, a two-parter mini-series from the 90s about this, where Randy Quaid is playing the main character.
Also called Randy,
before he went fucking crazy. Yeah. And essentially in that they made it out like he had joined the KKK, he was a bit of a racist, he was one of these militia, doomsday guys, religious guys, and he had a cabin up in the woods with his family, his wife, his brother-in-law, and his kids.
Yeah. And
word kind of got out that Randy was stockpiling weapons up there, and the ATF and the FBI go up there to fucking deal with it, which ends up becoming a siege. Was it that they were trying to shoot his dog and they ended up shooting his kid by accident?
What happened was they went to serve a bench warrant.
Oh.
Because he failed to appear on federal firearm charges.
That was it. He decided to hold out there. Shooting Weaver's dog, then it ran at them, and they pointed the rifle at Weaver's son, Samuel, who was armed. Samuel fired back at the marshals and was shot and killed by the team.
Right, so well, can I just say that if my son was shot, it'd be all out for me as well. I'd be like, well,
that's essentially what happens.
You know,
they're laughing. No, remember, they had a daughter as well.
Oh, well, you see, then that I thought they was the only
as far as I know.
She wasn't killed, I don't think.
And they were all locked in the house for... How long did this go on for? This was Siege. Went down for 2 episodes as far as I watched. Geography, development, blah, blah, blah. I can't see it anywhere here straight in front of me, so I'm not going to...
I don't see anything about a daughter.
So yeah, they basically locked themselves inside the cabin, and there was a bit of a siege that went on for a few days. Ruby Ridge Rules of Engagement, August 1920. Oh, okay. Anyway, they went on for a few days, and when Waco kicked off, that was kind of basically what they were trying to avoid. They didn't want another Ruby Ridge.
Good job, guys.
Yeah, that was the issue. And I remember in the mini series about Waco, the really popular one that I really want to watch again after watching that documentary.
Wasn't Isner involved in Ruby Ridge as well? The negotiator.
That I can't tell you.
Okay, just curiosity. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
This was more U.S. Marshals.
Oh, okay.
So I think he was FBI, was he?
I think so.
What was I saying? With the Waco guys?
You said the thing about the Waco guys.
See? She put me completely off my trail and gone.
That's great.
That's the end of today's episode. See you later. But you're kind of looking at it, and they're saying that they don't want another Ruby Ridge, and essentially they go in there, and even David Koresh, the head of the Branch Davidions, kind of turned around to him and said, like, the way you went about this is so fucking backwards, because you're after coming up here with fucking SWAT teams and banging down my door trying to get a hold of us, but it is well known that I jog outside of the boundaries of this building every fucking day, and you could have fucking nabbed me, you could have arrested me outside the compound any day you fucking wanted to.
They were given false information, though. They said that they were given false information that he very rarely left the compound, and that the only way of nabbing him was, I know if they'd been doing their fucking surveillance properly, I understand.
Undercover agent
I know, but they were given this is what they said, they were given false information that he very rarely leaves the compound.
But you watch the place.
I know, but they were, apparently, from across the road nearly, but I mean...
This is ridiculous. And I mean, what happens there then is you have this problem of, you have this religious nut, and he is trying to keep face, and you're after kind of coming up to him and starting a fight with him. It was never ending well. And then you had the problem of the ATF and the FBI's fucking, what were they called again? The hostage resolution
people.
Unit or something.
They seemed harsh.
Ooh, they were hardcore.
Yeah.
They didn't give 2 fucks.
They didn't come across like resoluters, if that's the word. They came across...
No, their resolution is that we go in, we kill all the bad. And he even said it. He goes, our job on a daily basis is, we are sent somewhere, we are told what the task is, we go in, we shoot the bad guys, we save the good guys, job done, end of the day, go home. And now we're on this situation where we've been called in, we've been told that's what we're supposed to be doing, we're being put in position to do that, and then we're being told to wait for the negotiators. And then the negotiators, you had the problem of the guy who was in charge had the negotiators coming to him, giving him one strategy.
Yeah.
And then from the other side, you had this fucking hostage resolution unit coming to him, giving him another fucking solution. And their solution was quicker, but more violent. So he's trying to avoid Ruby Ridge, so he's trying to tell them, oh, we'll see. And at the same time, he's telling the negotiators to go. So he's telling everybody to go ahead with their fucking plans. So the negotiators are like, Dave, we can resolve this peacefully, and everyone can be happy, and we can get you, the help you need and all this stuff. We'll get your sister, we'll get you into the hospital, we'll get you saved. Because she was after being shot twice.
Yeah.
And the next thing, they'd hear a gunshot from behind the fucking house, like, what the hell are your guys doing back there? Like, we don't know. We told them not to do anything. Like, they managed to get...
losing the fucking trust, obviously.
On one day, they managed to get something like, 20... they were calling them hostages. 20 followers out of the building, the compound.
Yeah.
And then the hostage unit came in with their tanks and rolled over all their cars in front of them so they could see that they were destroying all their vintage cars and shit like this. And it was like, well, we just built trust with him, and you're now after shitting all over it. And Koresh is on the phone to us, fucking screaming bloody murder, like. And at the same time, then they were talking to investigators, 2 investigators. And one claims that he thought that Koresh was full of shit and a con man. And the other guy goes, I don't think so. I think David Koresh was told he was the Messiah for such a long time
that he believed
it. And that was it. You know, he did believe he was the second coming of Christ.
Yeah.
Which is amazing because at the same time you had L. Ron Hubbard at the other side of fucking America running around the place saying he was the Antichrist. That could have been a pay-per-view fight.
That would have been a good fight.
David Koresh versus L. Ron Hubbard in the Harvest pay-per-view. Amy, we should bring back Celebrity Deathmatch.
That's what I was looking for.
Serial killer deathmatch or monster deathmatch and take the worst people in the world and see how they would fucking react.
Are we doing a stop animation or are we going to roleplay? I think we could do a good job. Who's being Koresh and who's being...
You're L. Ron Hubbard. Oh, yeah.
I think I'd rather be Koresh. Thank you very much.
Anyway, fucking... this kind of story goes on. It goes on for ages. It goes on for like 51 days. Some of the tactics used were the loudspeakers. I found that one interesting. Were you awake for that?
I heard parts of it.
They had like the lights coming on the building late at night. Big floodlights hitting the building late at night. And next thing you just hear a voice over the PA system. And it's like, all right, guys, you don't want to come out? Well, have a good night. I hope you sleep well. And the next thing they turn on noise and it's like a rabbit being slaughtered was one of them.
But see, the thing is, when you're dealing with people like that probably aren't like the sanest.
But that's what they say.
That is a bad fucking idea.
The hostage resolution team did this. The negotiators were like, "What the fuck are you doing? Stop doing what you're doing. There's a crazy man in there, and you are going to deprivate his mind to make him crazier."
Regardless, obviously, somebody that has hostages is fucking tapped.
And you don't do our job easy.
Holy fuck!
And at the same time, they have a more and more fucking pissed off Koresh on the phone, going, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
because they're playing this. Apparently, what's his name? Thibodeau.
Yeah.
I couldn't find for sure whether he is still a believer or not. On the top of his Wikipedia
I wasn't
page,
even too sure if he was a believer.
On the top of his page, it says former Branch Davidion.
Branch Davidion, okay.
In his Wikipedia page, it says Branch Davidion member. And on the documentary at the start of it, I'm pretty sure he was one of the guys who called Koresh a con man, yeah?
I think so. Maybe he's playing
both
sides.
By the end of it, he was like, we were fucked over. Our rights were shit on. Our beliefs were shit on. He was fucking getting into it. Like, he was like, hang on.
David Koresh can still be a con man and their rights can still have been shit on.
Oh, well, Branch Davidion were there before him and are still there now.
Yeah.
I think the biggest mistake, though, was the fact that, I don't know if they knew it. Again, I would have said probably do your research before you go in there breaking doors down. But they bought his prophecy to life.
Mm-hmm.
What the ATF and FBI did, Koresh had been telling his followers was going to happen for fucking months, if not years before.
Yeah.
And when those fucking guys start rolling up in the house, they just validated him.
Yeah.
You know? They made his word. And I mean, these people were brainwashed the fuck. Like.
Absolutely. I mean, there was families being broken up so that he could get with the wives.
Men weren't allowed to sleep with their wives. Wives took turns sleeping with him. They were like, you're one, the hardcore one, who's still a hardcore Branch Davidion member.
She was crying about her experience with him.
She was like, yeah, I used to stay back, or we used to stay back after prayer meeting in hopes that he'd pick one of us.
She called it a tender moment with God, which is, it's just
through
so
David, she got to have sex with God, essentially. And she was going on, she's like, we got to go to his magical room. And it's like a 5-foot room with a 4.5 foot bed or something. I was like, there's no room for anything. It's a sex room, lady. He bought into his sex room.
Yeah.
And then he wrote you and he sent you away telling you just had sex with God. And you were like, yes, I did. And she's still 100%. 100%. But I was curious what the story was with her son. Because that was a big part of the story.
I felt so sad for her son, yeah.
Because she had 3 kids. She had 2 kids and a younger son. But the 2 older kids were with a different father. So when all the kids were or some of the kids were taken out or were released by Koresh to the ATF, they were brought to homes, to a Methodist home to be taken care of.
Yeah.
And the father of these two kids came in and said, they're my fucking kids. And one, he had joint custody, so he took them back. But this little boy, their half-brother, was left behind because it wasn't his son.
Yeah.
No, I think if I was that father...
I'd have taken it. I was going to say that to you last night. You couldn't leave. But then is it a thing of he had custody of the other two?
But yeah, blood relative? They probably wouldn't have given it to him. Do you know,
I would have at least tried.
Oh, yeah. But so she kind of... The negotiators kind of coax her out using her basically her motherly fucking feelings. She missed her kid. She was a bit apart from it. And that got her out of there. But she was the most hardcore. And they even said it was like, once we knew we broke her, she was like, we can break any of them. I mean, she's one of the top fucking most loyal supporters to the point where she is still a fucking loyal supporter. Do you know? And I mean, the whole way through that show, she was defiant of everything. It was like, we were doing it for our beliefs. We were doing it for our God. Yeah. We were doing it for fucking...
She literally said, I'm not a person, I'm God's tool.
Yeah.
That's a quote from her, that if what she was doing wasn't a person's actions, she was acting.
Well, I mean, like, how do you get to that point where it's like... I think I can understand how you can get sucked into a religion, right? Mm. I mean, when I got into paganism, I got sucked into it. I wanted to read everything about it. I wanted to be around. I even wanted to be around other pagans to try and find out more stuff about it, you know? Mm. So I can understand how you could end up in this kind of scenario. But as soon as the leader turns around and says, right, I'm going to start having sex with all the women here. Now you know there's a pattern. Now it's a cult. It's not being a religious thing. Yeah, it's now a cult. It's time to leave. Suicide and sex. As soon as you hear your leader mention either of the two of those things, time to split.
Yep.
Time to bail. Time to get the fuck out of there. It does make me wonder how easy. I mean, L. Ron Hubbard said it himself. How easy it would be to make money being just being a religious movement.
Yeah.
You could just. Yeah. I mean, I saw myself writing about this apology stuff that I've been doing the last couple of weeks on the main show. How easy it is to come up with fucking fake ass stories that sound plausible if you're to say it's a religious thing. You know, I mean, it's crazy. I have one or two more things that I wanted to bring up here. What was it? Where the fuck is it gone? Oh, yeah! This is the big one. I knew I wanted to bring this up. My favourite part of this story. The resurrection of.
Oh, my God. Between George and David. Was he David at that stage at all? 3 times he tried to resurrect this woman.
Well, I was going to say, could this not have solved everybody's issue? Have all the followers stand there, have this resurrection off, see who can resurrect the dead body, and when neither of them succeeded, everyone went home.
No more church.
Back to your former religions, you fucking weirdos.
Did they ever get David to try and resurrect anybody, or did they just take him at his word?
I don't think he claimed to have that power.
Oh.
You know?
Well, that was probably a good move on his part.
Yeah, and I mean, again, these people probably would have gotten more sympathy if it wasn't for the sex stuff. Especially the underage sex stuff. Whatever about consenting fucking women and men or couples or what they want to fucking do in their weird sex cults. As soon as he starts looking at anyone under the age of 18 and starts going, she'd make a good wife. Again, you need to get the fuck out of it.
Gone.
Because it's a... And I did prove one thing, though, that I said it to you, is like, you hear like the Christians and Catholics who have loads of pedophiles within their ranks. You know, traditionally, back in the day, I'm not going to say they're now, but we had a big old pedo problem with the Catholic priests around here in this country, right? And they all claimed it was because gay people who weren't allowed to be gay in the country joined the church and started molesting children, or that molesters joined the church so they could molest more children. Well, here is living proof that it was not that, because this guy was getting all the sex he wanted and still went for the kids.
Having said that, he did sleep with an older woman as well. He didn't discriminate with age.
That was to get power. That was the first.
Still didn't discriminate with age.
She was the leader of the Branch Davidions when he joined the group. And he got in close to her because she didn't think her son would be a fit new Messiah after her husband died. And her husband was the original Messiah. So after the husband died, she made David the fucking Messiah. But the thing about it is people reckon that David was sleeping with her on the side. to get it.
And
He was in his
made.
early 20s and she was in her 50s, I think, at the time.
I think he was just really good at it, and that's why she's like, right, you're the Messiah.
What, you think the whole Waco thing is just down to the fact that Dave Koresh knew how to have sex? Good.
I don't think that he did, but do you think to her he did?
Do you think he took up carpentry just so he could say he was a carpenter?
Yes.
Because there is an awful lot. I mean, like, they pointed
that he was 33 years old when he died. Get fucked, missus.
He got shot in the side and in the palm.
One hand.
Yeah. And
what about his feet? What about his other hand? See, he's only half there, Mrs.
I loved your reaction. I was like, I bet he stuck his fucking hand out just to get that whole fucking put through it.
Definitely.
But
it just, everything seems orchestrated. When you take everything into account that he was a carpenter, and then, like you said, I like the whole, like, did he know, as in, like, 33 years, you I don't know, yeah. I don't think he's Jesus, but everything's very coincidental.
Again, the things that kind of come up here is, like, that originally, back in the day, the conspiracy was that the underage sex stuff was made up, and that the fact that the Branch Davidion started the fire inside the compound himself was seen as a conspiracy because they felt that, again, the government didn't want another Ruby Ridge in their hands, and that Waco was making them look bad. To say that there was underage sex going on under there, and that they started the fire themselves, meant that it took the heat off the government. They had to be there. There was children in danger, and the fire was started by them, not us. Now, I can say I feel on both. I know for a fact on one, and I feel strongly on the other one, judging off of what I was watching in that documentary. That documentary had agents who were present at it, who fought at it, and they had Branch Davidion members. We know the underage sex was happening, because all the Branch Davidion members said, yes, there was underage sex happening. He did have underage wives. One of his wives he got married to when she was 14. So we know that's a fact. That's no. So the FBI, the ATF, they had rights to be there. They should have been taking the fucking kids over there.
Yeah.
All those parents in there are bad fucking parents. Fuck them.
Yeah.
All those Branch Davidion idiots are Branch Davidion idiots. Fuck them. I don't give a fuck about the guns. I don't give a fuck about your doomsday theory. I don't give a fuck if you're the second coming. I don't care if you're Jesus fucking Christ. Leave the kids alone. If you were really Jesus Christ, you wouldn't be going around fiddling with fucking kids, you fucking perv.
Yep.
So fuck them for that. The fire side of things, I didn't know who to believe for a long time until I saw the interviews I watched last night. The Branch Davidion members, all they give a fuck about was fighting the government in court for shitting on their rights and all this and that. Not to fucking mention the fact that they watched about 80, 90 fucking of their family, quote unquote family, fucking burned to fucking death in a fucking building.
Yeah.
They're screaming and crying, our religious rights were fucking viewed. The FBI and ATF agents who were on that fucking job look like guys who came home from World War fucking II. They're haunted. I watched hardened agents cry at the thought of this fucking whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
There's one where you said to me when you were reading it, if you listen back to Mini Monsters, and Amy's talking about them going towards the compound on the roof. And you said it was funny to describe it when you were describing it. It was the guy who got out and he whacks his head on a piece of wood and he falls off the roof and he lands on the ground but still survives.
Oh, well, we didn't know.
And then that agent was fucking on the documentary and he's describing it and Amy's like, it's not so funny though.
He got shot in the nose, he got shot in the side, he got shot in the hip.
He's like, I'm up on the roof, I'm in the house, I get shot twice, I'm on the ground, I'm like, I'm not dying here, I'm dying with my friends. And then he pulls himself out of the house, knocks his fucking head, falls off the fucking roof, hits the ground, breaks his hip, breaks a leg. Then an agent who he saw as being like his son came up to try and save him, was shot, who was going to be like 23 or 24 the next day, was shot dead right in front of him. Then a fucking bullet whizzed past and grazed his fucking nose. And this man is fucking there and he's...
In my defense, I wasn't laughing at him, but the way Wikipedia worded it made it sound very stormtrooper slapstick. Like he bumped his head and fell off the roof. And I was like...
It sounded like something you'd seen a Bugs Bunny cartoon or something.
No, that's literally what I thought was a stormtrooper coming in through the door and whacking his head off the top of the beam.
And everything about... Like, this fella was a badass as an agent. And seemed like the nicest man in the fucking world. And he was just sitting there, and he was like, there isn't a day that goes by that I don't think of fucking Waco. You know, it's stuck in my brain. I think about it every single day. There's another agent who was fucking crying, going so many... Like, these guys weren't fucking prepared for war. They're policemen. Do you know?
Yeah.
They would just go into an average fucking drug or raid. Like, you know, that's what they were going. And next thing, they're in a 2-hour fucking shootout with the Branch Davidians, who had way more ammunition than they had way better weapons than they had, to the point that they had to go down the road to the nearest army base and borrow their tanks.
Yeah, see.
So it was like, the weapons they have inside there will blow us away. They'll blow any shield we have away. They'll blow any van you put in front of us to block the weapon away. They will fucking crush us. And in the end, like, and they were playing the fucking the radio chat between the guys at the battle at Waco, and one of them was the cop, this agent who had been to fucking World War II and everything they were saying, and was it World War II? He was some sort of vet anyway, and he had been shot and he was bleeding out, and they said this guy, he had been in multiple wars, he knew when you were seriously shot and when you were in trouble, and you can hear him on the fucking radio, he's like, you need to come in and get me, I'm in trouble, you need to come in and get me. And they had to try and talk a ceasefire with Koresh, who started going on. While this guy is bleeding out and time is a factor, he starts going on his fucking religious diatribe and giving them all a fucking, well, you should have thought of that before you came knocking at my house. God's on my side. We ain't going to do this. And it's like, fucking just shut the fuck up and listen to us for 1 minute. We are willing to stop shooting. We are willing to fucking negotiate with you. Just fucking cease fire so we can go in and get our injured agent out. If you are the good Christian you claim to be, you will let us fucking go in there. And then they said they had to, it was like this crushing part where they had to tell the agents to put their weapons down and walk in there to get their fallen comrades, while there was psychotic fucking cult fucking members still with weapons pointing in their direction the whole time. Like, they're like, we're walking in there unarmed, and these guys could just mow us down at any second, and we don't know what their mindset's like.
Yeah. Like,
your man Thibodeau as well said, like, he remembers seeing one of the agents pass the window and make eye contact with him, and he said there was just a look of disbelief in the agent's eyes. They could not fucking believe that they'd come to this little compound and been beaten so badly in the first fucking battle, like, you know?
Yeah.
And again, this would have a lot of knock-on effects later on with obviously how they dealt with these hostage situations or these cult situations. But it would also have a negative impact in the fact that Timothy McVeigh, the Oklahoma bomber, they showed footage of him there because this turned into a big event. People were coming to watch and see what was going on. It went on for 50 fucking odd days. It was time for people to travel down, have a look and see the spectacle. Like, and Timothy McVeigh turned up there, who was already a Nazi militia fucking redneck. And he decided a couple of years later to take revenge for Waco by blowing up part of Oklahoma fucking city and killing a bunch of people there. We'll talk about him another day. That's a big story in itself. But so, like, Ruby Ridge onto Waco, onto the Oklahoma bombing, and it's all connected from one to the next to the other, one fuck up from the other to the other. I mean, again, I think really summing it up, the Koresh isn't wrong in saying that they should have just watched the building and waited for him to come out.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
The sniper for the hostage resolution unit said that he at one point had him in his crosshairs, could have fucking shot him, but didn't have the clearance, and he was like, well, I can go to jail for the rest of my life, but at least 100 people are going to come out of there alive. And he was like, as soon as you cut the head off the snake, the rest are going to fall, So he was like, I didn't. He said, should I have? Probably not. But he's like, I do think about it, and I think about how
he could have saved people.
He's like, I would have went to jail for the rest of my life for murder because I hadn't been authorized to do it, but yeah, it's a fucked up one. Do your research before you join your cult. And remember...
Don't fucking join a cult.
And remember, hang on. How is a new religion going to start if there's no cults? They're a cult until you get tax exempt fucking status, essentially. So I would say... No, I wouldn't say don't look at... Okay, don't look at cults. But just make sure, as soon as they say the words, I am now going to have sex with all the women here, or we should all commit suicide and go to space, that's the time to say, I'm out. Yeah. I'm done. Bring yourself back to Jesus, because even that can't be that bad compared to this shit. And don't believe the man that wants to have sex with your fucking wife. If he says he is Jesus, he's lying. And that is Waco. Good old Waco. Next week, we'll be rich. Maybe. No. I think I've had enough of the Seige shit now. Yeah. Okay. See you next week.
Bye-bye.